Coming up around the nation, we're at the Horseshoe Casino in Baltimore, home of the CIAA Tournament for the next 3 years. In today's episode, we continue to count down to the HBCU's biggest hoops party with Jacqie McWilliams, the commissioner of the AA. And the NFL Network's Steve Wyche joins us as we talk about the HBCU Legacy Bowl, Black college football's answer to the Senior Bowl. The car's gassed up and we're ready to roll. Our first stop is Baltimore in the CIAA Tournament as we hit the road on the HBCU Sports Nation, and we're tipping off now.
Black college move. Ride, come on. Black college, stand up. HBCU.
All right, folks, it's your boy, the HBCU OG, Mark Gray. Thanks for hanging out. Welcome to Baltimore. We're inside the Horseshoe Casino, a tourist destination for most people and a great after-party spot when you get here for the CIAA. Now, I know a lot of people like to travel to town for day parties, but during the day, when you're at the Baltimore Arena, well, Royal Farms Arena now, I can even remember back when the legend Earl Monroe, who was with us last week, played in the Baltimore Civic Center. Still, the basketball action figures to be hot. But the thing that makes the CIAA tournament one of the great events on the HBCU Sports bucket list is the vibe. It is something bigger than just basketball. A few weeks back, I got a chance to catch up with CIAA Conference Commissioner Jacqie McWilliams, who is a Hamptonian when they played in the conference, and she too is CIAA for life. Jacqie McWilliams, who has brought the CIAA Basketball Tournament to Charm City, joins us right now, the commissioner of the CIAA, and it's been a month of Sundays since we've actually seen each other because of the pandemic. So has it been tougher for you to do the deal with Baltimore or waiting for the tournament to tip off in Baltimore?
I think it's been hard waiting for the tournament to tip off. I mean, all the work that we've been doing with Baltimore, I'm just ready for it to happen now. I mean, and what happens, and what doesn't, we'll pick it up later. But it's been a lot of work, Mark. I mean, we're in a new city, new players, new community. But it's been good. Like, it feels good. It doesn't feel like we're going into distress. You know what I'm saying? It just feels like everybody's on board and we all want it to be right for the right reasons.
Point well taken. So why Baltimore? Why now?
Yeah, so I say, why not Baltimore? And why maybe we were too late, too long. I mean, they came and they bid. They put in a great proposal. I think the stories that they told in the process, but how they wanted to include us in the history, like when we're about tradition, leadership, and community, and what a better place to take Black tourism to a city that has that same type of sentiment and support. The state is behind this, the city's behind it. The locals are behind it. And so I think it's a really great opportunity for us to bridge the entire community like we've never had before. And not that we couldn't have done it here. I think when you're in a place for a long time, people get comfortable and they settle in. And it's really hard to get people to think differently on what your vision is to try. So I do believe the reset in Baltimore was perfect. And what they brought to the table was impressive to the board. A different building than we've been in, Mark, but at the end of the day, I always say, if we were playing in my basketball, if you love CIAA, you'll come to the game. And so we'll make it. We're gonna make it we're gonna make it ours, and
Mm.
for these student athletes, because ultimately that's what we're there for.
So is there a sense that when you left Charlotte that, you've been taken for granted for a minute?
I don't know I don't know if it's that. I just think, again, like when if you've been in a long-term relationship, and I hate to make that analogy, I think sometimes you got to do things to spark it again. And we did when we did the 6-year deal. There was some new things that were brought. We were able to clean up some processes and manage the hotel community and all those other things. I think, just in this time, they just got outbid. I think what Baltimore brought to the table was very different than what Norfolk and what Charlotte brought, and it really gave the board an opportunity to evaluate ourselves differently. They hit every area that was important to us. The branding, taking part in the branding and the marketing, obviously the public safety, which I think Charlotte did a good job in helping us managing that. The communications plan and them being engaged in helping us with the stories, not just us doing it. I mean, if you've been in Baltimore, you'll see that signage has been up now for 2 months. Like, how wonderful is that?
At the Harbor Place Skywalk, I'm going to literally the Morgan Howard game coming up Pratt Street, and I'm looking like, wow, this is almost epicenter like for those of you who know anything about how Charlotte used to get down. Used to see all the banners of the school all over the place, all over downtown. And to see that in Baltimore, a town I'm really familiar with, it's like bringing some Southern flavor to a big event like this in a northeastern city. Well, mid-Atlantic, but people down there think this is the Northeast. So with that being said, what do you think will be the difference in terms of the vibe? Your conference term here, the vibe that was in Charlotte, but will be in Baltimore?
The nice thing about working for events and championships, and I worked for the Final Four for years and had the chance to go to all the different cities for us to deliver and execute. In every city you go to, you find out what is about that city that really makes a connection to the people that are coming there. I mean, here in Charlotte, the Queen City, and everything that we do around that, the crown, the excellence, we're in the charm city where seafood and crabs are like the highlight, and crab cakes. I never come to Baltimore without eating a crab cake, ever. Right. And so it just doesn't even feel right to go into just a regular.
It's like going to New Orleans and not having a po' boy.
Exactly. I never go to New Orleans without having a po' boy and having some good gumbo, and rice and beans. Right. So I think, coming to Baltimore, there's an opportunity to share the flavor and all the history there. I mean, the Black history there is so amazing to me. I know there's more museums, but the Reggie Lewis Museum is named after a Virginia State University grad. So, those connections. Earl Monroe played in the Rose Farm back in the day, right? So we get to celebrate that story. There's some connection to CIAA. Morgan State was a member of the CIAA before they went to the MEAC and went Division I. And so you're just connecting all those points in the history outside of Bowie State, that is our host, that really makes the tournament you just feel the culture and the vibe.
Saturday marks a major day in HBCU sports coverage. Consider that you've got the HBCU Legacy Bowl, college football's Black college answer to the Senior Bowl, and the NBA's Legacy Classic from Cleveland featuring Morgan State, my alma mater from right here in Charm City, I might add, taking on Howard University. The unprecedented day of broadcasting means you'll have Black college basketball and Black college football on center stage on national television. I can remember when I was on the yard, we were just fortunate to get one game per season, much less something like this. Steve Wyche not only went to Howard University, becoming, I should say, one of their elite alums from the journalism school, but he's also a member of the committee that put together the players who are representing in this showcase for Black college football talent. Let's check out my conversation with Steve Wyche, my brother from another brother, despite the fact he went to HU. Hard to believe that on February 19th, we're gonna have two primarily pro sports television networks with HBCU Sports on blast. It's your boy, the HBCU OG Mark Gray, along with Steve Wyche, NFL Network, who is an OG in his own right from Howard University. Even though he is so cool on TV, you would never know that he is as old as me. What is up, Steve?
You know how it is. I'm just right on brand, bro. You know how it is. Right on brand for the Bison. I'm so glad to be able to do this, man. I love you repping Morgan State. You know, you're right at the road from Howard U. There's so many great Morgan State alums. You know, Bill Roden, April Ryan, yourself, so many great ones, man. So I love what you do, my man.
Yeah, but in my lifetime, I haven't had a vice president as an alumnus in the White House. But
what about a Supreme Court justice?
Well, okay. Can't claim that either.
Governors?
I do have a link to the blood plasma thing, and with Dr. Charles Drew.
Okay.
And we do have a link to Clarence Big House Gaines, who did get his degree from Oregon. So I think we're doing pretty good. I did want to get your perspective on that. I mean, when we were on our respective yards, we were reduced to sort of like, hopefully we could see a team or HBCU game with its flavor on national TV. Now we got them on two networks on the same day. How big is that?
Yeah, when we won our yards, man, I mean, look, we didn't have the advent of this abundance of cable television and streaming and things like that. But on February 19th, I'll speak specifically to the Legacy Bowl that's going to take place in New Orleans. It will be on NFL Network. And with the Black College Football Hall of Fame, of which I'm a member of the selection committee, when we started thinking about ways to bring attention to HBCU football players, because over the last 2 years, only one player from an HBCU has been drafted in the NFL. We were like, what can we do? So we came up with this with the Legacy Bowl, and I pitched it to my network at NFL Network, and they were all over it. They were all in. Let's go ahead, and it's right in the middle of all of our regular kind of combine, all-star bowl season with the East-West Bowl and the Senior Bowl and the Legacy Bowl. And we're giving this full-blown attention. We're going to treat it like the Senior Bowl. So a lot of these HBCU players, the Jermaine Martins and Akil Glasses of the world, they're going to get the exposure. I mean, the whole impetus of this whole thing, Mark, is so these NFL teams, the Canadian Football League teams, and XFL and USFL teams, there's no excuses. There's going to be no excuses not to know about these young men, their coaches, their trainers, anybody affiliated with the programs. So when they have an opportunity to matriculate to the NFL or to matriculate to the front office, you know who they are. We're clearing the pipeline right now. We don't have to establish a pipeline. A pipeline of talent is there. We're clearing that pipeline so people know who they are.
I just find it ironic that, again, to your point of not having any HBCU players drafted the last 2 years, Super Bowl coming up, we don't have any HBCUs players representing either the Bengals or the Rams. I can't remember in my lifetime seeing something like that. What do you think is the genesis of that?
Well, look, I mean, part of it is a lot of the professional level talent just isn't going to HBCU schools, anymore. But at the same time, there are diamonds in the rough, right? There are players, I'll think of Kadarrell Hodge, a wide receiver. I believe he's with Detroit now. Came out of Prairie View. The Rams took him in the 6th or 7th round 5 or 6 years ago. He had a nice run, especially on special teams. Stepped up to play some wide receiver. Went to the Browns and was a big special teams player. It was kind of like a priority guy for the Lions. Like, there are developmental guys like that. But the one thing we have found when you talk to people from HBCUs is that a lot of times these NFL teams, these regional scouts, they're just passing through these Black colleges now instead of doing their due diligence. Now, some teams always do their due diligence. Teams like the Patriots and some others, they really sink their teeth in to these Black colleges. So why there haven't been more drafted, it's really a shame. A lot of these guys, sign on as undrafted free agents and catch on. But I think now that there is, ESPN has been really showing a lot of attention to these black colleges. What Dion has done, having a name like Eddie George, at Tennessee State, now Hugh Jackson at Grambling, there does seem to be somewhat of a renaissance in HBCU athletics. And I think that's going to grab the attention of the networks, because the networks aren't going to do anything unless it's going to generate income and revenue for them, right? That's any network, right? Don't think all of this is out of the goodness of their hearts. But at the same time, when you have so many people like myself and Jay Walker, at ESPN, other people pushing and saying, look, we've got something here. I mean, that really helps as well to bring attention, because it is all about creating opportunities for these people.
Upon further review, before we march into next month and get past Black History Month, we must give credit where credit is due to two gentlemen who seem to be forgotten in terms of the impact that they made on where we are today. Former SWAC Commissioner Dr. James Frank and the late Ken Free are guys that you may not know of by name, but boy, were they big in the annals of black college sports history. Commissioner Frank stewarded the SWAC for many years and helped broker them into prominence by being a part of the crew that brought Grambling and Southern into mainstream American sports. And by then, it was opportunities for players like Jerry Rice, John Taylor, and John Stallworth to get their just due. A little bit later after that, there was a fellow by the name of Steve McNair who came from the SWAC. And then, of course, you look at the Robert Porches from the MEAC, and most recently, Tariq Cohen. You can see that the impact that was made on black college sports by the efforts of somebody like Dr. Frank. Ken Free did an outstanding job with legitimizing the MEAC. Let's be real for a second. When the CIAA and the SIAC combined to bring schools like North Carolina A&T and Florida A&M into one specific conference, it was Ken Free who went up amongst the power brokers of the NCAA to establish media partnerships, earn a place on the NCAA's basketball selection committee, and to start the precursor to the Celebration Bowl, which was ironically enough called the Legacy Bowl, that then morphed into the Heritage Bowl, which is now the mega extravaganza in December that's played in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. You can't have black college sports history without the memories of Dr. James Frank and former MEAC Commissioner Ken Free. So let me shout out, as we remember great black sports figures from days gone by, to the memories of Dr. Frank and Ken Free. Because on these historic moments that we're about to endure, somewhere two guys are smiling and high-fiving. And you know something? They can rest in peace for life's work well done. Don't forget to like and subscribe at the bottom of the page. And as always, if you got plaudits, platitudes, or beats, hit us up, particularly on TikTok, and send it to us here at Smash Entertainment. And even if we disagree, I think you look better than just twerking on your social media page if you drop some knowledge on us, and we'll leave the light on for you. So that closes the book on this edition of the HBCU Sports Nation from the Caesar Sportsbook here at the Horseshoe Casino in Baltimore, Maryland, home of the CIAA Tournament. You're looking for that after party after you enjoy the best college basketball tournament in America? Make your way on over here. They'll leave the light on for you for late night grub, and of course, a frosty malted one, ingested responsibly, of course. Till next week, I'm Mark Gray for the HBCU Sports Nation, and as always, we look forward to catching up with you the next time we are road tripping. Deuces.
1, 2, 3, hit it. Black Island.